Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Factorio. It's been a long time since I've sat down and recorded an episode. At the end of the last one I talked about how I want to just take some time to play the game a bit without recording, make some progress on this map and come up with a design for the new base, which I have. I have a really good design which I think you're going to enjoy, but first of all I want to show you some of the things I've been doing in between recording. Mainly I've been gathering a lot of materials. And I just want to say as well, if you want to put a like on this video, it is really appreciated. It does help support the channel and give this video some exposure, which means exposure for the game as well, which is good for everyone. So what have I been doing? Well, I've been producing a ton of copper and iron. I was about to say steel. I've been producing that as well. And yeah, so what I've gone and done is found lots of big copper patches and iron patches as well. And I'm going to zoom out here so you can see. My transport belt goes all the way over there. There's a big patch here still as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail with that, but I have just been transporting this in as much as I can. And one of the things I found that really helps, and this is a good tip, when you have these long lines bringing in materials, you don't really need to use anything faster than the yellow belt, although that could change depending on the size of the amount of furnaces that you have. But let's say you're using yellow or red, and what you can do to make the materials coming better is just change the ones at the corner here. If I pick them up you can see they're red. Now the reason that I've done this is because when the items go around the corner and they sort of uncompact themselves like they're at the moment, they kind of get spaced out, and you can see they go around one corner, then they come over here and they go around another. And what I noticed is that they got spaced out, and when they came into this bit here they weren't coming in fast enough for every furnace to be used. So by adding those red tracks to the corners, that just means they come round and they keep nice and compacted like this. So you can see I've got lots of solar panels here for solar power. I've been trying to make the switch. I've still got some electric engines running as well, and I'll talk about that a bit more in a bit. So let me show you some of the materials I've been gathering. Got tons and tons of steel, a full chest there. I also added this. Instead of using a belt, I decided to use a provider chest just to transport some iron plates over to the other side so they can produce more steel. Then if we go along here, I've been collecting loads and loads of these resources in these chests at the back. So look at all that. It's mainly copper, but there are some iron plates in there as well. And the reason that there's so much copper is because I've been using the iron plates to produce these. You can see them above us. Been making lots of yellow tracks so we can make red ones, and then we can make the blue ones, and I now have 2 chests full of these, and these are going to be an important part of our new base layout. We're going to be making our main transport belts are going to be made out of those, so that's why I've been doing lots of that. This little setup here makes solar panels, but I disabled that for now. And yeah, what else have I missed here? I'm not sure really. Like this over here for example isn't too interesting. I've just been making more iron clogs to help speed up the production of those transport belts. So one of the other things I tried to do when I was switching over to solar power was to make a system that would stop using our electric engines during the day. So the solar power would be used in the day, and then when it turns to night we can use the electrical engines instead. And the idea there was to save on coal. And this didn't turn out to be too successful, but I've got some ideas to improve that. So that's something that I think I'm going to come back to. I don't really want to explain it now because it's a sort of unfinished concept, but that's something else that I was working on a lot. And if I can get it to work well, I think it would be really good, because if you think about it, you can build tons of these solar panels. Every time I go to say solar panel, I say solar panel. So I say solar power. It's so weird. But yeah, you can basically build these and then it's something for nothing. So the more of these that you have, if you can get your whole base running off of it, then you don't need to use coal except when it's night time. So I'm hoping by doing this and coming up with a system that we can save on how much coal we use and then leave the rest of the coal for smelting. But again, that coal line, you can see it goes all the way up the top. There's some coal there, and I've just been finding patches all over the place and bringing this stuff in. So I decided to make a cut. I wanted to show you the layout of the base like quickly without building the whole thing, and I talked about it for a bit and then I thought, do you know what, I can make an example. And then I started scouting the area, and then it occurred to me that the other day when I tried to use the car I didn't think to just see what the controls are, because there's probably going to be a button that lets you get in them and it's just spacebar. And I feel like such an idiot now. So I can actually use this to go and have a look around, which is really cool, because travelling is really slow when you're walking and you're zoomed out and you want to just find out what's in the area. So I'm going to do a little bit more exploring and then make sure that we found the right place to build this base. Okay, the car is officially awesome. You can just get around really easy with it, which is great. And I've had a look around. It's hard to explore because of all the creepers attacking the car, but it feels like this is the best position to put this. So the way that I want this to work is for us to have master tracks that go straight down the middle, and we're going to put on these tracks the most commonly used resources, like for example copper and metal plates, and then we'll put other things on them as well, like steel plates, electronic circuits, advanced electronic circuits, copper cables, clogs, all those sorts of things, and they are basically just going to run down the middle like this. So the reason that we have two together and then a space and then another two is because we can use inserters to pull items off of both tracks, and my thinking is that I want to put all our different production things for, I don't know, whatever it is we want to build, on either side of these tracks. So one at the top, one at the bottom, depending on how far down the line it is, that will be where that position is. So for example, we're not going to put anything at the bottom here, because when we add something on the side of it that's going to take resources off, it needs to be expandable in this direction. So then the next part of the design is all the materials come up one side, the what are they called the assembling machines can take the things and then put them back on the other side, and then they can get sent back down here onto one of these tracks. And of course it's night time now, so hopefully what I'm saying is enough to understand. So I need to get the space in between here right, so that we can make conveyor belts that have room to take items off of the tracks and then put them on a conveyor belt and send them underneath these tracks over to the other side. So, oh, where did these guys come from? Whoa, that was weird. It could have been, whoa, they're attacking the car. That is not good. It could have been from where they were chasing the car earlier actually, which would make a lot of sense. So anyway, I'm going to wait for it to be daytime, and then I'm going to show you where these tracks are going to go, and then I'll start finalising my ideas and building this. So at the moment I've started building a little bit of the layout, but I'm just trying to think through the logic and things involved to make sure I don't make any mistakes, because it's going to be the most important part of our setup. I've also put these here just so it looks cool where the tracks start. But anyway, I've got a car over here, and a car has a trunk, and I've been putting items in there and transporting them over with my inventory as well, so I've got tons of supplies over here. So that's a really good tip. If you need to take a lot of materials, remember that your car has a trunk. Now the layout, what I want to do is I want to put two different types of material on each track. So on this one here we are going to have copper cables and, no sorry, iron plates and copper plates, and then below copper cables, iron clogs, circuits and advanced circuits, rockets and steel. That will make up all of the ingredients for most crafting stuff, and then down the bottom here will probably end up being potions. So what I've been thinking about is that we're going to have two items on each belt, so we need to be able to put them back on the correct side and also take them off. Now I'm pretty sure that I'm correct with this, but I am making an assumption that I need to test, and I will do in a minute. But that long-handed inserter can take items off of either side of that track, but an inserter like this will only put it on the far side of that track. So I need a way to get the items back onto the correct side of the track. Now one idea was to do it like this. We have a smart, oh god, I can't get him to stand in the right places. Right, I don't even need to stand there. Let's stand over here. We have a filter inserter in that gap there, and so we can take items off of this belt, put them on this one, and then they get pushed onto the front side of this, and then other inserters that are here will put them on the far side. The only problem with that is that this is going to really slow down the amount of materials that are coming through, so I probably need to come up with another solution for that. Another thing is to possibly add another filter on the other side, and you can see how this track goes down all the way to the bottom here as well. We'd have the covers, what are they called, you know, the underground bits, we'd have those in between. But yeah, I'm just thinking about the flow, because if we have lots of items coming down here that need to be put on the far side, then our filter inserter might not be able to pick all of them up quick enough. So that's the kind of problem that I'm facing. I'm just going to keep thinking about it and see what I can come up with. Okay, I think I've just been overthinking, if anything. The whole point of this is to make things kind of modular, and we can take whatever we want off of these lines send it up here and take something out after we produced it with assembling machines. So we're only ever going to have one type of item coming out of these, so we do not have to worry about any of this, because if I need to put it on one side of the track, I use an inserter, and then it needs to be another, I bring it round to the correct track and put it in like that. So if not this side, we have an inserter here to put it on the other side, and then if we want to put it on this side of the track, same thing again, it goes straight in like that, or we turn the track and put an inserter, and by doing that we can take it to any track and put it on the correct side. So all we need to do is really prioritise what gets done first. So obviously iron and copper will get done first over here, and then everything that gets assembled from those will come after it. So once we've done those two, it will be copper cables and iron clogs, and then further down the line it will be the more complicated stuff. So we're not going to be producing something down the end, something at this end that requires something that actually gets produced further down. And it's dark, so it's not good to record anymore. I'm going to build some more and then show you. Oh, and if you're wondering what these chests are, they were just my idea that I'm going to be transporting a lot of goods over, so I want some like buffer chests at the back where I can just open them and put a load of items into them, and then they get put on the tracks. But again, the same problem, I haven't thought about what side of the track it's going to go on, so I'll probably build these when I actually need them. So here it is, I've done the first part of our factory. This is where all the raw materials get processed and turned into iron plates and copper plates, which will then get turned into all sorts of stuff. And you can really see where this is going now. At the moment everything is completely backed up. That's the way I like to do it. I could add a buffer in so that these items get put into a chest and then put back onto the track, and that would mean when it's backed up like it is at the moment, these could keep producing copper and putting it into the chest, but I like to do it like this. This is fine for me. So all those materials are backed up because they've reached the end of the line here, and all of these have 128 of copper and 128 of iron in them as well, so there's nothing more it can do, and all the materials are backed up. So what I need to do from this point on, as materials get used up, is just continuing finding patches of iron, copper and coal and feeding them back into these express transport belts. And I've actually used express transport belts for the whole thing, going all the way up to where the iron patch is up the top, which I'll show you there. And I'm doing that because I've got an excessive amount of them, and I don't think it would be, well, it might not be the best use of resources, but if we can do it for the whole system, then the whole system is going to work as efficient as possible. So this design that we have over here that sorts out our copper ore and our iron ore, this I found on the Factorio forums, and it is a really intelligent design. If you look at how it works, what it's doing is it's taking the coal from the middle, and both sides can get access to that because of the long-handed inserters, and they can actually take from these underground belts as well, and then on the gap in the middle you put down your electric pole to power everything, and you've only got your normal inserters on either side, and they'll just take from the one that's on their side, like the iron or the copper. And so that is a really cool layout. I really like that. I don't know who originally came up with it. I saw it in quite a few pictures on the forum, so I can't really give credit, but yeah, really nice design, whoever came up with that. I also think there's lighting in here as well, and if you look at the way the electric poles are laid out, it's all really neat and organised, which is something that I want to keep. But this design right here is expandable. If ever I need to produce more of this stuff, all I have to do is continue the design going upwards, and then it will instantly add to the system without me having to change anything down the bottom. And that's basically what I'm going for with the whole thing, is just this constant line that moves everything in one direction, and then I can take things from it to produce other things and put them back onto this. So we've done the first one, we've done iron and copper. Now what I've got to do is iron cogs and copper cables. So what I'll be doing further down the line here, I'll leave a little bit of space between them just in case there's something I might want to add in the future. What I'll build is something that takes these two materials off of the tracks, and it's not going to redirect all of the materials, it's just going to take off what it needs, and then it'll send it into a modular system like this, where the materials will go up one side and they'll come down the other, and that will produce our materials that we need. Okay, here it is, the second part of the factory. We're now going to be producing iron cogs and copper cables here, as you can see. And I wanted to space these apart because I thought there might be something that I need to do at some point in the future, something to change that I haven't considered. I really don't think I've missed anything out here at all. This all makes a lot of sense, you know, produce all the things in the beginning in the order that you'll need them, because we need these ones to make the next ones. Then we're going to be needing the copper cables and iron cogs to make other things, which we're going to put on these conveyor belts. So for that reason I've spaced them out a little bit, because I thought there might have been something that I've missed, but I don't think I have. So I am very tempted to rebuild these and make them a lot more compact. We could technically run this conveyor belt, or express transport belt as it's called, right up against the side of this one, although I would leave just a little bit of space so I can walk up and down in between would be a good reason, although I can walk on these tracks. Yeah, I'm kind of put off by the idea, you know, I've spent a while putting all this together and then taking it apart again, but I think compactness is an important thing with these factories, and look at the, you know, amount of space we've used up over here. I'd like to continue that going along, so I'm really sure that this is a bulletproof idea. I really hope I haven't missed anything, but yeah, I think I am going to do that. I'm going to take these two down and then move them over. Here it is, we have the next line done. We've got electronic circuits and advanced ones, and again this is really simple. We've got all of these filter inserters picking up the two materials that we need to make those, and then same thing on the other side here. And this is why I like the belts positioned like this. Now I did think for a second that we only want two more lines, and possibly what we could do is have three of them together in a row and use long-handed inserters, but you can't choose which items you want to pick, which is very important, like we have at the moment with these filter inserters. Now I did experience a strange bug a moment ago when I first set this bit up and I hadn't done anything over the left hand side here. These were set to iron plates and these were set to copper cables, and then I started building some stuff and I noticed that these were no longer transferring items onto the belt, so I looked at them and all their filters had changed to iron plates, which is very strange. Yeah, so one of the cool things I like about this is when I added the belts for this bit here, all the advanced circuits went through and you could kind of see like a chain effect as the things before it were needed, and it went all the way back, you know, bit by bit. You could see everything moving around until it got to the end here, and then the production of copper and iron just went right up again, which is really cool. And it looks like we're going to have to find a new copper field. This one was only temporary. There's one under all of these trees over here, which I'm going to go and mine in a moment. But the next thing to do is steel, which should be really simple. Where is it there? Oh, there's just so many things to look at. You scan your eyes over them quickly and you never see it. Do you know what? It's not even on there, is it? Because we have to use a furnace to get steel by putting in iron plates. So that's going to be a really simple one to do. And then the other crafting ingredient we're going to need is the rocket. And another thing I've realised as well, so far I've made everything going upwards off of our main tracks, which might be what I end up doing anyway. It doesn't, well, it might not make sense to put one thing on either side, but I'm not sure what or why that would even be yet. If you understand what I'm saying. But also, there's not enough space on the bottom here. It's not until we get out over here somewhere that we're really going to see any space below us as well. So, seems like I have picked the right location. And yeah, nothing to do now but just set up the next bit. Okay, the iron is done. It was a little bit challenging because I had completely forgotten that at some point I'd need to bring some coal down here. But luckily I left that bit of space between the tracks and our factories, and a while before I was thinking about how I could have compacted this further. I could have got rid of this space in between here, done some other things as well, and you know what? It would have been a bad move because we need to leave a bit of space for things like this that I haven't considered. So what we have is just some long-handed inserters taking that coal, putting them down onto here, and then you can see the way it makes its way through. And I had to rearrange something at one point. Yeah, this bit here I had to do it that way around so we can make sure that this gets onto the other side of the track. And so now we have iron on this line down here. And you know what, I really like this layout. Just look at it, it's so cool. And when we get down to the labs and the factories and potion making, all that sort of stuff, we're going to have loads of like rows of materials coming in to give us everything that we need, which is going to be awesome. So what do I have to do next? The next one to do is the rocket. That is going to be 5 iron plates, 3 iron gears and 2 electronic circuits, which means we are dealing with 3 ingredients, so we're going to have to send 2 tracks up and use a long-handed inserter as well. But that is really all I have time for this episode. It takes a hell of a long time to build all this stuff, plus all the time I spent in between gathering all the resources. But let's just finish on this note and have a look at the progress we've made this episode. That is a really awesome factory. Let me know what you think of it in the comment box. I've been wanting to hear what you'd think of this for a while now, so don't don't be shy, just let me know your opinions. I think this is a really cool setup. So as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.